Right now, your life is being dictated by the rules of people who desperately need you to remain predictable. They need you to be offended by criticism, distracted by noise, reliant on their approval, and constantly giving away your power through unnecessary explanations. Every time you shrink in a meeting, overshare a goal, or justify your ambition, you are proving their programming works. You feel that familiar low-level anxiety, that frustration watching others move with effortless authority. The people who command the room without saying a word, who get opportunities without begging for them, who simply exist on a different plane of leverage. You feel that internal scream. Why am I the only one stuck behind the velvet rope? I spent years living by their script. The script of consensus, of likability, of waiting my turn. I thought the key to success was proving I was nice enough, smart enough, or agreeable enough. I realized the brutal truth. The system is designed not to keep you out, but to keep you manageable. They taught you the rules of playing defense. But here is where the game fundamentally changes. You don't need to fight the system. You just need to become untouchable by it. In the next few minutes, you will learn the 7 codes of the untouchable mind, the psychological framework that separates those who are constantly seeking approval from those who generate respect. This is not about being cruel. It's about being strategic. By the time this script is over, you won't just think differently. You will fundamentally restructure how you interact with the world. You will move from being a participant in other people's dramas to the architect of your own undeniable reality. Before we dive in, drop this code in the comments and make it a mandate. I am the architect. Type it now, because after today, anything less than full control is a voluntary surrender. 1. The strategic art of the empty stage. Your biggest enemy isn't your competition. It's your own need for verbal validation. When you walk into a room, who holds the attention? Not the person talking the loudest, but the person who dictates the rhythm of the conversation. I used to be a nervous over-explainer, filling every pause, trying to prove my competence with sheer volume. I realized I was just advertising my anxiety. Every unnecessary word you speak is information you relinquish for free. Every explanation is a compromise of your authority. The empty stage, the strategic pause, forces others to fill the void, and in doing so, they reveal their own desperation. When you master the silence, you are not being rude. You are forcing everyone else to project power onto your quiet observation. They assume you are evaluating them, judging them, seeing through their masks. Your silence becomes a psychological canvas upon which others paint your image of power. Stop trying to prove you are smart. Start letting others prove their insecurity by rambling into the void you intentionally created. 2. Emotional indifference, the ultimate leverage. The world tests your authority by attempting to elicit an emotional reaction. Your frustration, your anger, your defensiveness, these are the levers people use to control you. I learned this when a colleague deliberately tried to provoke me in a high-stakes setting, hoping I would lose control and derail the deal. My gut instinct screamed for an explosion, a justification, a defense. I did nothing. I sat in absolute, terrifying calm. I realized that my emotional reaction is a choice, not a reflex. When you deny them the reaction they crave, you demonstrate that their actions hold no power over your internal state. Emotional indifference is not apathy. It is the strategic refusal to grant leverage. When someone tries to push your buttons, you don't react. You simply collect data. When they betray you, you don't collapse. You take notes. The ability to remain completely unruffled while chaos swirls around you is the clearest sign of leadership and the surest way to force others to respect the boundaries of your mind. 3. The discipline of the hidden hand. You were taught that transparency is honesty. That's a lie designed to strip you of your negotiating position. Your dreams, your strategies, your next big moves, these are not for public consumption. They are currency. I used to overshare my plans, only to watch them fizzle or be stolen by others who were less talented but better at execution. The moment I stopped detailing my internal process, people stopped questioning my external results. Mystery creates respect, and scarcity creates value. The less people know about your private struggles and the details of your strategy, the more they have to respect the final outcome. Your job is not to broadcast your intentions. Your job is to allow your results to be the grand reveal. Treat your personal information like a classified document. Don't withhold it out of malice, withhold it out of discipline. Let your success be a sudden, undeniable force that leaves people wondering, how did they do that? 4. The irreversible ascent of necessity. Nice doesn't make you necessary. Being agreeable guarantees nothing but being easily replaced. For years, I confused being liked with being valued. I was accommodating, always helping, never rocking the boat. And I was always overlooked. You know what makes you necessary? Being so undeniably competent that replacing you costs more than keeping you. This is your insurance policy against politics, whims, and changing loyalties. Stop aiming for likability and start aiming for irreversible competence. You need to know your craft so well that you are the solution to problems no one else even knew existed. When you are necessary, people are forced to deal with you on your terms. They may not like your boundaries, your directness, or your refusal to play small, but they need your results. Competence is the only form of power that is non-negotiable. 5. The verdict of results. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is the fastest way to hemorrhage energy. I wasted months trying to logically convince critics and fearful family members why my chosen path was valid. They weren't confused, they were threatened. Your explanation serves only to provide them with more ammunition for their disbelief. If someone's identity depends on you staying small and predictable, no amount of logic will change their mind. The truth is, you cannot logic someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. When you encounter that willful misunderstanding, your response should be absolute silence, followed by undeniable, crushing results. Let the success of your actions serve as the only necessary explanation. Focus your energy on those who recognize and champion your worth, and give those committed to misunderstanding you the spectacular show of your victory. 6. The architecture of personal sovereignty. True freedom is not chaos. It is the presence of self-serving structure. Most people build their lives as a series of dependencies. Their happiness depends on their partner's validation. Their income depends on one boss's approval. Their schedule depends on their colleagues' availability. This is voluntary confinement. Sovereignty is the realization that your stability cannot be borrowed. I learned this when my entire network of dependencies collapsed overnight. The crisis forced me to build systems that worked regardless of external participation. You must create multiple pillars of income, validation systems for your self-worth, and a schedule controlled by your purpose, not someone else's clock. This is not selfishness. It is the strategic independence that allows you to engage with others from a position of choice rather than need. Systems create options. Options create power. Power is sovereignty. 7. The necessary cut. This is the hardest code, but the most essential. Strategic ruthlessness is the willingness to prioritize your goals over other people's temporary comfort. This means making the necessary cuts, removing relationships, commitments, and obligations that actively drain your momentum. I had to let go of friendships I had for 2 decades because every conversation was an energy vampire, a request for validation they wouldn't grant themselves. You cannot confuse loyalty with enabling. Every time you say yes to a draining commitment, you say no to your own exponential growth. The successful are not more talented. They are more willing to make the uncomfortable, disciplined decision to prune their life of anything that doesn't serve their ultimate vision. Do not waste precious time, energy, or emotional resources on people or activities that are determined to stay mediocre. Your highest obligation is to the person you are capable of becoming. The untouchable person doesn't seek respect. They command it. They don't beg for opportunity. They create a gravitational pull that draws it in. You have all the knowledge you need. The difference between those who read this and those who live this is simply the courage to stop asking permission. Stop seeking approval. Start building your reality.